first segment off this morning with some music, but I love the background of our first guest because his love is for teaching and teaching music and drama to little children, and then how music and drama can help them learn lots of things. And he's performing all around Nebraska, so we want to say good morning to Dino Odell, who's joining us. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good to have you here.
I'm having a fun time traveling through Nebraska this week.
Yeah, that's right. You're in several stops, several places, and a little bit later on this morning you'll be in Lexington at the Public Library. So let's start with your background, because when I was talking with you and going to your website, I saw started with teaching, preschool and elementary?
Yeah, I was an elementary music teacher.
Yes.
And before that I taught preschool. And so I got the idea for doing, an assembly person would come into the school and they'd do a music show, and I thought, that's kind of what I do in my music classes. So that's how I got interested in doing assemblies at schools and preschools. And because my background is education, the goal is always to deliver content through music. I'm working with the libraries this summer, so I'm working with a lot of libraries here in central Nebraska in this next week. And what we discovered when I was a teacher, we didn't discover it when I was a teacher, we discovered it a long time ago. The teachers figured out that in May, the kids would be at about this level in terms of their reading comprehension and their ability to process information. And then by the end of the summer, they'd be down here.
Absolutely,
they'd have this dip. And it would take a month and a half or 2 months to bring them back up to level. So the libraries got involved in trying to keep their brains academically active. Obviously,
without
kids,
knowing that they're learning anything. It's summer.
Keep them reading, keep them connected to stories. And so when I visit the libraries, I'll bring my guitar, I'll tell them stories, but through all of that entertainment, we're actually teaching them about, this summer it's about geography.
Nice.
Last summer was about outer space science. We did an outer space science show. And we're working with all different ages. We've got 3-year-olds and we've got 5th graders.
Wow.
So we're also, unlike a classroom teacher, having to kind of switch the focus of age that we're trying to bring the information to. It's like one of those really great kids movies that can speak to an adult and speak to a kid, except not as sophisticated as that.
Right.
But 3-year-olds pick up and process a lot.
More than we think sometimes,
I was in Iowa 3 days ago, and there was an 11-month-old in the audience, and we were doing a song where the kids have to focus. It's one of our first songs, and it's kind of a primer for the kids learning to kind of focus on what I'm doing. It's a song where they have to play what we call lap drums or shoulder drums. They're playing their shoulders, and whenever the music stops, whenever the guitar stops, they have to freeze, and there's a section where they're clapping. And there was this 11-month-old clapping along, and whenever I'd stop, the 11-month-old would freeze.
I love that.
And I was really amazed.
That's awesome.
Well, because Dina, you say that we learn best when we are engaged, and we are engaged best when the medium is interactive.
Right.
And that's what you do. And taking all of that you've learned from teaching with little kids and applying to that, you must be living your dream.
It's a really fun job.
Yes.
It is really fun. I enjoy it immensely. Yeah.
So do your songs reflect your books? Because you're also an author. Tell us about your books.
Okay, so this is the story of Czar and the Broken Spaceship, and this was taken from my song about Czar and story about Czar and the Broken Spaceship. It's about a space alien that crashes at the park where my friends and I are playing, and he needs help fixing his spaceship. Some people are familiar with the story of Joe, who works in the button factory. Does that ring any bells with you guys?
Before my time?
After my time, probably.
It might be.
Yeah.
So it's actually an interactive song about a guy who's working in a factory and he has to press buttons. And I actually stole the idea of Czar from Joe in the Button Factory. Czar is an interactive song where in order to fix the spaceship, you have to press a button on the ship, and you have to press it in time, and you have to kind of sing along with, there's a little rhyme that you have to sing along with, and at the end of the rhyme, it says, you know, push another button with your other finger. Oh, and add an elbow. And then you sing the song again, and then you add your nose, and you add your knee, and you know, pretty soon these kids are going crazy, and they've got all the different body parts in their, you know, in their tongue, and they're pressing a button with their tongue.
Yes.
Show us, Carol. You
No,
can do
I
it.
was saying you would lose Ronnie and I from
Yeah,
the top,
like
but
instant.
you know, and I want to show some of your video you have because your videos show, like the first one I think shows. What are we counting here? Is this counting or no? Tell us about this one.
This one is Around the World. This is our anchor song for the show that we're doing this summer.
Oh,
This is a song, you can see there's the pyramids and so forth, and right now there's the whole world. This is a song about our planet, and it covers all 7 continents. Okay, and here's another one that's a counting song.
I love it.
It's about dragonflies.
Yeah.
And I love the animation in this. It was animated by a friend of mine from Uruguay, South America.
Oh, wow.
Santiago Hermano.
There's a story in itself. We're gonna have to have you back.
Do you write the songs?
I write all the music and I write
That is
all the
beautiful.
lyrics, and I have no skills at all for drawing or colors. So he did all the visuals.
My goodness. Now, do you have a video? And here's the next one. Which one is this
Well,
one?
this is Czar and the Broken Spaceship.
Okay,
This
yes,
is the one
here we go.
based on the book, and you can see those kids there. That was me when I had hair.
Oh,
The good old days.
fun.
Look at that.
I love this.
Oh,
And
there's
there
the
it is.
spaceship.
Yes.
Yeah.
So not only you have you have the videos, you have the books and the music, all learning elements here for children. And look how engaging this is.
Very visual.
So do you direct the videos then, or how does this? Do you do the books? What comes first?
Well, that's a great question. So I'm not much of a visual person, but I can I can get detail about my direction sometimes. This guy is so good at at visuals. He would come up with 100 things that I would have never thought of, and then I would say, "Oh, could you add this as well?" There's my schedule right there.
There we go.
Great.
Very nice.
That's
Yeah.
very
I've got 3 shows today,
Yeah.
Just 3.
busy.
and then tomorrow I'm in Minden, and
And then Gothenburg.
Yep.
And then next week, so you're covering the whole central, our viewing area and then beyond where we go. So people are
Yeah.
going to be engaged. Before we go to a break, we're going to have Dino come back and do some guitar. How did you find an illustrator from South America?
You know, great question. I actually found this guy online. I
Wow.
found some of his work online, and I contacted him and said, "Here's what I'd like to do." And he didn't speak English all that well. He spoke Spanish fluently, and I don't speak Spanish at all. So, but I loved what he did. I loved how he did it and what he did, and we ended up having this long working relationship. We did 2 videos together, as well as this book, and by the end of the process, I really could understand how people could even, you hear stories about how people fall in love online. I never understood that. And then I got to working with this guy,
Yes.
and I fell in love with his work, but I learned to trust him. I learned how you could actually trust someone, through that process. So
Very good.
we haven't actually met in person. We've Skyped,
Wow.
and communicated, and so forth. But
And
but
it
I
works.
would work
It's
with him
worked.
again and again, and I would recommend anyone to
Wow.
work with him.
We might have to Skype with him. We
Yeah.
might follow up on that.
He's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
We're
great.
going to come back with Dino in just a moment. Stay with us. And welcome back. Well, Dino Odell is joining us today. and talking about how kids learn how we engage them through music. He's going to be performing all around the area. He's going to be in Lexington today at 1:30. Wilsonville Public Library.
I think Lexington at 10:30.
10:30. Yes,
Wilsonville
10:30.
at 1, and then
And then
4 o'clock.
Kearney at 4.
4 o'clock,
Maybe.
Kearney Public Library. So
Just show up early.
yeah, so you're going to be engaging Ronnie and I right now with your guitar.
Yes.
So we're playing along.
So, okay, so
Just-
I mentioned earlier my background is an educator. So whenever we do a show, whenever I do a show, it's more like a lesson plan. It's like a lesson plan on steroids, though, because you've got music and stories, and you've practiced it 100 times. Imagine if school teachers could take one lesson plan, one 45-minute lesson plan, and refine it and practice it and do it 100 times. And,
Wow.
right, so I get to do this lesson plan a lot. And the first song in one of these lessons plan is the anchor song. And the anchor song
Okay.
not only delivers information, but it helps set the information that we're going to be learning about, the curriculum,
Okay,
kind of
okay.
for the 45 minutes. So this is the first song. And I'll just do a little bit of it
Okay.
and then show you how we start to engage the kids.
Okay.
So. North America, South America, Europe and Africa, Asia, Australia, and Antarctica. Now, the first time the kids hear it, they will passively listen to it. And then I'll ask them, I'll say, what planet do we live on? We live on planet
Earth.
Yeah, and Earth has how many continents? And they might know, they might not. So then I'll say, well, let's count them. North America, 1. South America, 2.
Love it.
Europe and Africa, 3, 4. And we'll get all the way around to and Antarctica and 7. So we've got 7 continents. And then I'll say, I'm going to need your help clapping on that song. The claps happen at the same place where we were counting. So now they're engaged. They're
This is
engaged in
perfect.
the song. And they're clapping with the song, but they're still passively hearing all the names of the continents. Because our kindergartners and first graders probably don't know those continents.
No.
4th and 5th graders probably know them, though they might not be able to spout all 7 of them off if you were to ask them. But by the end of the process, they will. So the next step is North America, clap. I'm going to need your help.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
cue the co-host.
You ready?
Yes.
North America, South America, Europe and Africa. Right, you got it. Asia, Australia, and Antarctica. So now we've got them actively engaged. In this next part, I won't ask you to do, but we'll have them jumping at the same time as they're
Carol
clapping.
likes to jump.
I know.
Yeah, well.
You do. I know you do.
It's too early.
So
Wonderful.
what happens is we're engaging more and different parts of the brain. And the more of the brain that we can engage, the more likely they are to remember that all those lyrics.
Yep.
And of course, lyrics and music are a mnemonic anyway. They're great for, think of all the songs that you can remember from when you were 16
Absolutely.
that aren't really useful.
It's kind of like the song about all the states. Alabama, or
Yeah.
or and you remember, kids remember that.
Yep.
They can name them all, and the capitals or whatever.
Yeah.
You need to teach a class for other teachers to do this.
I
because-
do. I do.
Well, there you go.
I do teacher trainings, and its focus
Yes.
is I'm from Kansas City, so in Kansas and Missouri, I work with the state organizations, and we have an accredited class on integrating music and stories into the classroom. There's lots of things. There's so many ways to teach, and there's so many great teachers out there.
Yes.
This happens to be one way where I'm kind of a specialist, but having said that, boy, when I go and watch teachers teach, when I go and sit in class, I always learn something.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
pick something up.
Well, the tune is catchy. I mean, you kind of have to
Yeah.
get a catchy. You kind of have to
Yeah.
have a little shtick there, a
Yeah.
little something to, because that's what I was kind of going
Yeah.
by with a little.
Yeah,
beat.
it's memorable.
Yeah, it is.
It's memorable.
Yeah,
for
very
sure.
much so. Now, people, I know some of our viewers are going to probably want to say, and teachers as well. I know they're often or they're watching. Where can they get this book, or how can they have you come to the schools? Can they book
Oh,
you
yeah.
during the school year?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I travel throughout the Midwest and beyond.
Okay.
I'm heading out to Brooklyn, New York to work with the Brooklyn
Wow.
Libraries in October. I was down in Arizona back in April.
Nice.
So I'm always working
Yeah.
with different libraries, schools. I work with real young as well, 3, 4, and 5-year-olds, as well as elementary age.
Awesome.
And I work with older than that, but not in a kind of a musical, not in a performance context. But we do songwriting workshops and that kind of thing. So it's in a smaller, with smaller groups, classroom sizes.
Preschools would be awesome. I mean, you said
Absolutely.
11-month-year-old.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Pick up on it.
Yeah.
So go to your website.
Yeah.
My website is dinoodell.com.
Okay.
And you can find the book in Kansas City
Okay.
at different bookstores. However, we're far from Kansas City. The easiest way to do it here is to go to the website, dinoodell.com, and you can order the book or the CDs
Perfect.
from the website. And they feature all
Wonderful.
this interactive music and storytelling.
Love it. Well, this
Very
is
nice.
you are amazing, and thank you for what you do. And we have to say hello to your son and your wife who are watching, and
Yes.
Grandma.
Great, great. Danny,
Danny.
hi, Mandy May. My wife Mandy May grew
Nice.
up in Smith County, just south of here.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And her mom Arlene, they're probably all watching, waiting for the wheat to dry.
Yeah.
Because we got a lot of rain
Absolutely,
this morning.
absolutely. Well, thank you for letting us borrow your dad, husband, and son-in-law today to share this with our viewers. And again, thank you for being a teacher first and foremost, and for what you do. We
Thanks.
appreciate you being here. And we'll be back with more in just a moment. Stay with us.